Watch it, okay?
Wow.
2, 3, double wow, triple wow. 4 times.
I love dancing.
Good. Did you dance this morning? Good. Is that never be what you love to do first. In 1962, I finished my degree. I remember that last week I went to my college to meet all of those who studied in the 62 batch after 50 years. After 50 years, we met all the guys who studied in that institute in the same college. Half of them are already up in the so the remaining half we met, and very exciting to meet the same guys that you know. I had no contact with many of them. Somehow we lost each other, but to see it was a great thing. When I finished in 62 and came home, my father asked me if I'd like to go to US or to UK or to Germany to get some training. And then I said, I don't want to go anywhere. I was a kind of a rebel. So he just asked me, you don't want to go anywhere. In those days, the in thing was, you finish engineering, you go to UK, US, Germany or somewhere, then come back, then decide what you will do. Okay? Otherwise, you're half-prepared engineer if you only do it. And it's sad. So I told him, Daddy, I don't want to go anywhere. He said, he got angry. He said, then what do you want to do after 4 days? I said, we have nothing. We have a big house. We have a garage. We have a portico. Why don't we take out the car from the garage and put it in the portico? And then give me the garage. Give me some money. You fellow, you don't want to work for it. First he looked like that, then he said, you don't want to work for it? No, I don't want to. He said, congratulations. I will take the garage. And tomorrow the garage is there. And tomorrow he gave me, next morning he gave me 14,000 rupees. So I began my life with 14,000 rupees and the garage in 1962. My teachers, I have great regard and great respect for them, but they complicated everything instead of simplifying anything. Therefore, every time my teacher taught something, because I had already done it at home, I already knew the simpler way, and I was wondering why is he or she eating like this when you doing this. But sometimes you just can't say it. If you say it, you know, you're ostracized from the class. Okay. I had already ostracized myself from school beyond that. Okay, I was just going there because everybody is going there. So I was sitting in that garage, I began to think of everything that our teachers taught us, and everywhere there was complication and how to simplify, and bring it within the reach of the child. I thought that would be a great contribution I can make, at least for future teachers, that they'll use the simpler method to teach. Then I always dreamt from there that I should make the best teaching aid in the world, okay, in a garage, okay, in Alsur. So I worked from 1962 to 1990. And in 1990, I decided to go to the Olympics of teaching aids in the world. People are in London now. There's an Olympic of teaching aids. 1990, I decided to go there. I couldn't afford to go, but whatever I made, I sent it there. And I got back a telegram to say that whatever I sent got abroad. Okay. So my factory said we should celebrate. Because I said nothing to for abroad. Who will celebrate? Let's wait till we let it go. 2 years later, I went personally, and then I presented what I had. I got to go. Okay. What I'm just trying to say is, because I I didn't allow myself to be constrained or structured by any forces around me. That school was bad enough, engineering was bad enough, and I'm not going to listen to what people say. I started working in that garage. And as through this 1962 to 1992, I'm not saying it loudly, 27 patents, copyrights, designs, okay. And every one of them, when I was coasting along to achieve, there are people who told me, that's not the way it's done. That's a blessing. If that's not the way it's done, that's the way you should go. Put your foot down and go there. Don't allow yourself to be dissuaded if you want to be creative. The world is full of critics who will sit and tell you what to do. Okay? They are out in the galleries. Down in the stadium are the people who are doing things. What you do matters. And don't change what you do because they're shouting from there. Let them shout, their throats hoarse. Okay. So if you keep up with that, all of us have got something within us. I'm a believer that every one of us is born on this planet to make a contribution to this planet, to make it a better place than what it already was for those who are coming, so that it's better. Okay? That, I believe, is the reason. That means every one of us is born unique. That's why I asked what each one of you loves, and if you're doing what you love to do. Every one of us is born unique. It is sad that in a classroom where history is going on, some kid's eye is out in the football ground because he loves football. Okay, you can't. He's actually thinking of going and playing football, but he has to learn history. Just like that, there might be a Raman, and so many sitting in the class, but they're all there. It should be turned to doing what the teacher wants them to do. And so we are born to do something else. And education makes us do something to make us uniform. Uniformity, to my mind, is mediocrity. Uniqueness is world-class excellence. You and I are born unique. Therefore, it's a good idea not to go to school where they'll transform you from uniqueness to mediocrity, uniformity. Okay? I'm very clear about it. Therefore, I get into the schools in the city of Bangalore and I handle 5,000 kids every day. And what I tell them to do is something the teachers will never ever give them a chance to do. Okay? The proverb says it takes two hands to clap. Today in the class, they were watching. Who said it takes two hands to clap? It takes just two fingers to clap. So I took a piece of paper, I put two hands on either side, and I said, if you press this, the two hands will clap automatically. So who said that you require two hands to clap? So first thing is, all these proverbs, they may mean good things, but they're being misquoted unnecessarily because two hands to clap, somebody says to create a war because they ran over LOC, we have ran over LOC, therefore it takes two hands to clap. And now this sticking out of the box requires us to do things differently. Okay? So we are talking about creativity. And creativity is the uniqueness with which you are born. If you allow it to manifest in spite of a structured world, you're lucky. Okay? You have to fight it. You have to put your foot up. I asked how many of you who sang a song this morning, danced this morning, and got some good responses. How many of us love to sing? How many of us love to sing together? So, if we love to sing, we must start the day by singing. If you love to dance, you have to start the day with dance. Don't worry about the word. The first things for creativity, observation. The sharper and keener your observation, the more creative you will be. So train your eyes to look beyond the beyond. Okay? If you take a look at the Nobel Prizes over the last 20 years, okay, everybody who got it because he observed something that his predecessor failed to observe. Therefore, the eye is such a beautiful thing given to us. We must train it to look sharp. Okay? Right. So you know what it means. You can't get it. You haven't retained a little of your childhood. You've gone from childhood to adulthood missing something important. Okay? It's a big bridge. Okay? It's a difficult bridge. You need to bridge that. Okay? Once it starts whistling, the ear is hearing. Therefore, the ear feeds to the brain. And the brain tells you exactly when to put. Tells the fingers exactly when to put. All the time it is working beautifully coordinated. That's why kids don't get up. That's why kids, got it up. Wow. That's why kids don't get up when they're with toys to answer the bell. Then the parents get angry because we bought them that, we have to go and answer the bell. But that is ecstatic state of doing something for the sheer joy of doing it. Are you worried about anything else? When you got this, wow, nothing else matters. It's important. Ecstatic state of doing something for the joy of doing it. It doesn't matter what money is involved, whether you're getting anything out of it. At this moment, I'm in a great way. Don't disturb. Beautiful. This is what I'm trying to say. When kids are playing there in that state, if we get the brain into working in that state several times in doses, then the brain learns how to concentrate when you're at your work. Everything starts melting. Everything starts. Everything becomes easier. We need to put a little of this into our life. Okay. Anybody who can tell the dream that you had last night? Partly. So now I'll tell you what's happening. We can tell, we can tell partly. That's because we don't need to tell. Okay. Suppose when you're going into your office, after swiping the card, or before swiping the card, there is a watchman there. Sir, I won't allow you to swipe the card. First, you have to tell me your mic, your dream last night. Then you will do it. There is no such thing. Therefore, you need not do it. Therefore, you don't do it. Tribals, Nagas, Chodas, the Sanoid tribe. Okay, this is dream research. The Sanoid tribe, you know what they do? Every morning, the father sits with the family and first asks the mother, what was your dream last night? If she says, I don't know, I didn't dream, she doesn't get breakfast. She's the one who made breakfast. You have to go without breakfast. Therefore, next day when she comes, she gets street smart. She fabricates the dream. When you fabricate, the right brain is getting exercise. When he goes to the sun, what was your dream? I had a dream, but I don't want to tell it. If you don't want to tell it, then you get up and go. You can't have your dream. Okay, Daddy, I'll tell my dream. Now this dream, every one of us had. Daddy, I went to the top of the mountain, and from there I fell. Tell me, how many of us have had falling dream? Put your hands up. See this. And what? And he says, I fell from the top of the mountain. The father asks him, then what happened? Daddy, what will happen if you fall from the top of the mountain? He wanted me to tell you. He said, I want to know everything to the last detail. Okay, Daddy, I fell down, I died, there was blood, there was my bones, and all this kind of thing. That is not at all disturbed. Then what happened? He said, Daddy, I opened my eyes, I saw my bed sheet, I saw the pillow, I saw a familiar curtain, I saw walls. Thank God. Then he's waiting for him to say that. You fool, thank God it's a dream, you said. In your dream you fell down to your death. I said, what a fool you are. Tomorrow if you get that dream, get wings, I said. Start flying. Why do you want to fall down to your death? Now this boy tells himself that if I get that dream, I'm going to get my dream. Days later, at the breakfast table, when the father asked me, what was your dream? Same old. Then what happened? Daddy, you told me to get wings. I got wings. Then what happened? I went all over the world without buying any tickets. now this is converting the dream from negative into positive. Okay? People who are less educated seem to know how to transact the brain, how to use the brain beautifully, how to use the right and left marvelously. But with more education, we seem to be using less and less of the right brain. I'm talking of tribals, huh? Tribals. Like Nagas, Chodas, the Senoi. They're tribal. Some of them haven't seen a train in their life. But they're doing this big training the brain, to control the brain, keep the right also working. This is important for us. Inner confidence that you're getting does wonders to the brain. It puts the brain in a state of pleasance. The moment the brain is in a state of pleasance, wired with every little organ of your body so that you work beautifully. Harmoniously is beautiful. Those of you who will sing in the morning, please sing in the bathroom. Because the bathroom generates an echo. Try it out. The bath will generate an echo. The echo will follow the voice. The voice will follow the echo. The beautiful combination of the voice and the echo is like what Raman creates. So Ilayaraja creates. This beautiful thing going inside to the ear. You know what the brain does? The brain doesn't keep quiet. The brain says, wow, you're Lata Mangeshkar, you're singing so beautifully. You become a Lata Mangeshkar. Suddenly, you become a Balamurali Krishna or a Bhimsen Joshi. My Bhimsen is singing so beautiful. And what does the brain do? It immediately tells the lungs. It's wired to the lungs. What are you keeping quiet? My Bhimsen is singing so beautifully. Pump up some more air, I say, so that we can hear him better. So more air comes to your mouth. In the bathroom, when more air comes to your mouth, you have to open your mouth nice and wide for the air to go. What's the first cardinal rule that a music teacher asks you on the first day that you want to learn music? You want to learn music? First learn to open your mouth nice and wide. This happens naturally in the bath. So please, sing in the bath. Okay? Right with the left hand. Okay? Dance in the room. Okay? Lock up the room and dance. Don't worry about small ripples it will create. I will tell you, I was doing Bosch, Robert Bosch, and the chiefs came to me. I was doing 2-day course. So I told them, I asked them, how many of you sang this morning? Nobody. Then I said, well, you're not getting the best out of whatever you endowed with. And I said, tomorrow I'm going to ask this question again. You won't believe it. Some of these senior executives, they come to me, to Parmeshwar. You said that tomorrow we have to sing. I said, of course. You know what they said? Believe it or not, suddenly if we start singing, they may think something is wrong with us. Look at how we have built that. We are so worried about what others will say in our house because you suddenly start singing. It's your life anyway. If you love to sing, better sing. Okay? And don't worry about what anybody else thinks. So I told them, by the diary I want you to write down for 15 days every morning singing. You try it. 15th day, stop. On the 16th day, don't sing. I'm telling you, the same guys who asked you, why suddenly you start singing? Say, what happened? Today didn't listen to your beautiful music. So everything is the world is a victim. We are all victims of conditioning. The world is also a victim of conditioning. Don't worry what anybody says. Okay? Number one rule in creativity, put your foot down. If you believe in it, put it into action, continue to do that. So I'll go back. Singing, dancing, drama, art, painting, cartooning, left hand writing. Left hand writing every day. From tomorrow. Okay? Don't waste one more day. You'll see what happened before the 4th of the month. Next thing is, no total learning takes place in any subject in the world until the head, the hand and the heart are, 3 of them are involved. How many of you have read Stephen Covey? Yeah. What does he say? In the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he says that you want to touch world-class excellence. You need to have knowledge, up-to-date knowledge on your subject. Must be up-to-date. Otherwise you're less than world-class. Up-to-date with what's happening in your field of activity only, anywhere. Knowledge alone, he said, is not enough. You won't touch excellence. The next thing that you require is the skill set. The skill is to deliver the knowledge that you've got is the skill. That is so important. So let's go. Knowledge, skill. The third thing is that even if you have the knowledge and even if you have the skill, if you don't have the third circle, which is the desire to excel. Desire to excel is part of the motivation thing. This small triangle here has knowledge, skill, and desire. This is world-class excellence. Okay? Where does knowledge come from? What about skill? And what about desire? So don't read Stephen Covey. Go and see how kids work. Whatever they do, put their head, hand and heart into it. Okay? When they put their head, hand, heart into it, you'll see that the result is excellent. Today they had two of these visitors saw children doing head, hand and heart. Did you see Bhagavad? You tell them what did you see. There are 44 of them. I never had to say keep quiet. I never had to say I want pin drop silence. Do you know what we got? Pin drop silence. Because everybody's got something to do. They got a limited time. They have to finish before that. And they have to show it working. Okay? So all this means, if anybody disturbs them, shut up, I said. Let me do my work. Now they won't allow anybody to disturb them. What's that? That's total being engrossed in what you're doing for the sake of doing it, not for anything else. This is important. No? There are times when we do something for the joy of doing it, and the intrinsic joy of doing it means not for money, not for promotion, not for increment, not for mansions, not for anything. Just doing it gives me so much joy. That's a very important thing. Okay? Some luck, you get a lottery in some mall and you get a scooter. Now you got a scooter in your hand, you don't know how to balance. You are in the town, endangering the lives of people because you can't even balance. So some steps can't be missed. You have to learn how to balance before you take a two-wheeler. This is important. Okay? You cannot miss that step. It's so great. Anything that is easy, do it once. That's why I made you do that. I made you do that so that you understand. I made you do the 5-point task and learn for life. Second thing is, for some of us serious-minded folk, we think that entertainment, too much of entertainment, means you can't concentrate. It's a myth. Okay? You better entertain yourself during the weekend so that on Monday onwards you can get cracking with whatever work they give you. There are some people who have too much of fun. No, Monday I can't. You'll be able to do better than ever. Okay? It's so important. So, that much about entertainment, that much about things being easy. There's a Harvard study. It says, never do anything in your life, which is DDD. DDD is difficult, depressing,
Deathly.
disgusting. Never. Instead of DDD, do what is E. What is easy, what is effortless, and enjoy. Right. So this is the Harvard study. They are not joking. So DDD never to be done. Why? Because if you fail, it will send the wrong signals to the brain. Once the wrong signal gets to the brain, even the easy one you won't be able to do. So just imagine that when you go up in your vocation, you go one morning, on a Monday morning, okay, and there's a big dragon on your desk. It's about to gobble you up. Okay? Such a terrifying problem. The boss has sent it to you. Okay? As soon as you see that problem, you feel like getting up and going after coffee. Okay? What will you do? I want to ask you, what will be your reaction to a terrifying problem that presents itself on a Monday morning as soon as you enter? Jokes apart, I know. You can say, I will never go on Monday. You take leave of your days. On Tuesday, you know what happens to dragon? Becomes more ugly, becomes more monstrous. Okay? Therefore, you can't handle it anyway. What would you do? That's such a terrifying problem.
Split it into some easier parts and
Human hand. Wow! The moment you get a problem, I'll put it geometrically as a square, which is difficult. First thing to do is break it up into small parts. First, I told you that you do whatever you enjoy doing. There's one part of this problem that deals with accounts and figures. So figure guys can handle that. So sitting at my desk, I'll call you up and say, hey, this is your cup of tea. I don't understand. Why don't you take care? And you're so happy being called for this. You'll be recognized the best guys of these figures. Therefore you take it. And each one of you is doing what is called easy, effortless, enjoyable on the small part. There's another part that deals with design. I'll send it out to the guy who's good at design and you take care of it. Okay? Finally, I take it and reassemble the problem. And then it's an E solution which everybody enjoyed doing. Therefore, the big solution gets done so easily by delegating and distributing. The problem that we do, we understand delegation, but whenever you delegate, the mistake that we make is never delegate a part of the power that you have along with the problem. You must delegate a part of the power that you hold it in that desk. So look here and say, can you take care of this design? If it costs something like 10,000 rupees, 20,000, go ahead. I'll make it available. You have to do that. If you don't do that, that guy will worry, how can I do it? It's going to cost so much, finally he'll fire me for spending so much. You understand? So part of your responsibility, you have to readily give it away along with delegation. You'll get back beautiful solutions for everything that we do. Okay? So, next thing. I don't want you to get it wrong, but I have to tell you everything honestly as I know it. I went to the US to buy a book which says The Joy of Not Working. Beautiful book. What a beautiful book. That author, I tell you, is one of the most creative guys. What? The first sentence of that book, the definition of work. Work, the thing that comes between me and my God. What he wants to do is make God. This terrible thing called work is coming between me and what I love to do. So his definition is that from work. Second sentence in that book. Hard work never killed any man, but why take a chance? Look at this beautiful sense of humor. So beautiful, so highly creative. Third, when I do this workshop in companies, I tell all the guys, don't speak too loud about it, they'll throw me out of here and they'll never ask me to come here to do classes for you. But the truth is the truth, okay? So, the third, I never work in any month which has the letter R. January, February, March, December, October, September. What he says is, if you are smart enough, this brain can do in 4 months what you are doing, struggling to do in 1 month. You can do in 3 hours what you are struggling to do in 8 hours. You train the brain to do that. You become whole-brained. This is what he is trying to say. You understand? That's why this whole brain is such an important thing. I'm not interrupting a child who's got a certain thought process, and this happens very often in the offices whereby you got a trend of thought, you're doing it, the boss interrupts and tells you, no, that's not the way, that finish, that beautiful idea is gone. Gone to the vegetable. Don't allow that to happen. So here, Sridhar, he take this, and when he told me that I'm not yet finished, I told him I'm sorry, continue. I want you to see his next step. When I saw this, I knew that Sridhar belonged to that class of kids who will do what they want to do, irrespective of what the teacher expects out of it or tells. Okay. There are some class of children. They'll go to the examination. The examination is on history. So he said, okay, exam on history. What do I know about history? He asks it. And from his conscience, whatever he knows about history, he writes that. Okay? He writes truthfully what he knows about history. What he has written has no relevance to the questions that are asked. He thinks straight away, this is a history thing. What do I know about history? Let me write it down. And let them decide whether I know enough, whether I should pass, whether I should fail. Such a beautiful way of thinking. From the person who's correcting the paper, this has no relevance to the question. Therefore he fails. According to this one, like Srivan, my answers are right, the questions are wrong. Okay? All my answers are right. They're all truthful history that I know. The questions are wrong. What can I do? Okay? If you want to fail, fail. I don't care. But what I'm trying to say is everybody has some intrinsic, basic knowledge of the subject. Okay? And that is to be respected first in an examination. I know a very important man in the city, I will not mention him, whenever he is asked to correct question papers, first thing it is for everybody, it is from the passing mark. First, every answer gets the passing mark. Beyond that, read the question paper, see how I got great issues about the passing mark. When he believes that he has no right to fail it. Such a beautiful thought. I got a plier and I'm going to take away this hook because this is causing some problem. You know that the weight is down there, therefore you're answering because of the weight down there. I'm going to knock this weight off and then see how our brains function after that. So I don't have a weight. Okay. There's no weight. See it? I remove that. Okay. Now again I'm going to put it in the center. Balance guys? Answer. No balance guys? Okay. Good. So what I'm going to do is not to show you this. The teacher shows everything, you'll never do anything. Go home, take a hanger and do this one step. This I will not show you. I'll go beyond this, but this one thing I will leave out. You have to learn to leave out something so that people will do it there. Otherwise, put the gum here, put this. Then after this is done, this line, folding must be precisely on the line. I like good work. We want precision work. We want perfect work. Okay? If you learn perfection now, when you go and join companies later and you join factories later, you'll do everything perfect. And everybody will say, look at her, how beautiful she does it. That's very important. If you don't do it, shall I tell you what will happen? Remember that athlete, that astronaut, Kalpana Chawla? Beautiful girl. She died. Do you know why she died? Because somebody did not do something perfectly in the spacecraft. So we don't want to do it. We do everything. Do it perfect. I want to tell you something. We will not fail you. Okay? No matter how many you are, we will do it. Okay? But there is a restriction on the total number. That was 75. Correct? So, you pray that we start another floor on top of this for which Rotary Club will get enough money. Then we'll have 75 here, 75 up, and 75 in the third floor. We have enough people to do that. But congratulations. I like your enthusiasm. You must keep that enthusiasm up. Okay? You keep that up, we promise to give you interesting things week after week after week. Sitting in that garage, I was not only making things that would excite young minds. I was thinking that at some day we should go and show the world what India is capable of. I had worked with many of the best kids in the world, okay, because my father used to bring them whenever he went. But I said, I won't copy anything. Whatever I do will be original. And therefore, when I started making those kits, I had a dream that I must go to the Olympics of teaching aids in the world. The Olympics of teaching aids in the world happens in Switzerland once every 2 years. And it is in Basel, in Switzerland. So, in 1990, Professor Ram Seshan of the Raman Research Institute telephoned to me and said, look, it's 100 years celebrate the Raman centenary, we want to design a kit for which will make a child look at light the way Sir C.V. Raman did. He told me very clearly that my scientists will work with you, but they don't know anything about kitting. Therefore, you will have to work with them and you will have to sit with them. It might mean 6 months of work, but at the end of that, I want a kit which will make children look at light the way Professor Sir C.V. Raman looked at. And so I began the journey of working with those scientists, and the kit that was produced there, along in collaboration with the Raman Research Institute, I decided to send it in 1990 to World IDAC, and there was news that we got a bronze. When the news arrived that we got a bronze, my factory said we should celebrate, and I said nothing doing. We will celebrate when we get a gold. So in 1990, when I came back with the bronze, with the news of the bronze, my factory said we should celebrate, and I said no, we will wait till we get a gold to celebrate. And from then on, whatever work we were doing with the schools was continuing, was gaining great ground. Okay. At that time, I asked myself one day, why is the whole world bringing the eye to the microscope? Why can't the microscope come to the eye? And I slept over it, and one morning I got the idea of what it should look like. Within minutes of getting up, I was in my workshop. I was with a piece of wood. I already had made the shape of that microscope. I sketched it roughly, and anybody who sees it today says, where was this designed? I just designed it. I mean, as it came off my brain, I didn't go to anybody else. But everything in that was so elegant and so beautiful. It came out well. As soon as the people came into the factory, I asked them to take a look at it. I had a little lamp put there, and they looked at that and said, wow. And I said, then I just took it to a few more people, and everybody, the expression was wow. Now I decided that this is what's going for our trial for the gold to Basel. So 2 years later, I sent the microscope, and I got the message that we got a gold. So I went to receive the gold, and the beautiful thing is that of the 6 people who got the gold that year, India was the first to be called, because all others had produced equipment that would be so expensive that could only be afforded by institutions, whereas India had taught the world how to put a microscope into the child of a farmer for as low a cost as $1. So India was the first to be called to receive the gold. Earlier to this, I had already made a microscope using a bead. Okay? When I was young and I was playing with marbles, I often saw that I could use the marble to magnify newspaper, newsprint, and therefore I said I should sit with a glass blower and make a clear glass ball of borosilicate glass without any air bubble in it and with no distortion. And after probably months of trial, we were able to hit it, and therefore I said, this is going to be my lens. The glass ball was a great hit, but I then realized that to hold the glass ball, you need to hold it between your thumb and forefinger, and that will cause fingerprints on the glass ball, and they'll magnify the moment they come within the field of view. Therefore, I decided to add a stem so that you hold the stem and you don't touch the viewing surface at all. I sent this to the patent office in Calcutta in those days, and I got a patent for this. Then one day I said, I'm not going to be caught by the rack and pinion method of moving this ball up and down to the focus point. Therefore, I slept over it again, and next morning I was fooling with a valve tube, cycle valve tube that costs 2 paise, and I put it over the cycle spoke. I found that this can move beautifully the lens up and down without any backlash, as you will expect with gears. And it was a beautiful friction drive. I sent this for patenting and I got a patent for that too. So then when I thought of the total microscope that uses the lens, the bead lens, as well as the focusing device, and already had made it and sent the drawings for patenting for the total microscope, I got a phone call from my patenting lawyer in Kolkata to say that my patent is in jeopardy. And I asked him, why is it in jeopardy? He said, because Carl Zeiss Jena has contested your patent. And I said, so what? How can they contest it? Have they found something else before I did? Then I would like to see that. He said, no, are you going to fight Carl Zeiss? I said, of course I'm going to fight. I want that patent to come to India. Okay? Carl Zeiss can't walk away with that unless they prove they thought about the idea before me. So it was a long process before the court ruled that the patent be granted to India, and Carl Zeiss was defeated. And my patent for this particular microscope has in the back pages indicated that it was contested by Carl Zeiss. So I'm very proud of this particular patent. And it only told me that there is nothing that we cannot do in India. Okay? And it can be anybody in the world. They can be as advanced as they can, but there's something in the Indian that can make us get anywhere in the world.